have something very interesting that happens here with Cyberforce 21, 22, and 23. Now, today, it's Cyberforce issues 21 and 22. And why not 23? Well, 23 is a solo issue. It's actually a one-off. It's actually a filler, aka an inventory issue. How do we know this? Well, if you go through the credits of Cyberforce 22, we see a hell of a lot of inkers. I mean, too many inkers for any comic book. Issue 22, just through the credits, makes you believe that David Finch, being late David Finch, as we know him through this channel, turned in pages very late. And to get the book done on time, and Top Cow had the Top Cow guarantee. All of Image Comics, they got this reputation. Late books, comic shops were furious. It was a bad reputation. It's a bad look for the American comic book industry. But Top Cow took the bull by the horns and they said, we're going to guarantee our comic book drops. One of the repercussions of this is you need inventory issues and you need a studio system to rally around pages and get them out of the door as quickly as possible. Now, late comic book pages can also mean late comic book lettering, scripting, coloring, so on and so forth. Issue 22 is a partial effort in, here we go, issue 21. This is where we start today. This is a complete issue. This is exactly where Cyberforce needs to be as a title. This issue is one of the best Cyberforce issues until we hit issue 25. Cyberforce stumbles to their landmark issue, and it doesn't look good. You want to say issues 22 and 23 lose readership, strictly because the story's not carrying over. We want more of this plot resolved. We want to see more of these moments. There's like an A, B, C plot happening, but we want to see more of these moments. We want to just like inch the story piece by piece. And it's hard to do that if you're late. So guys, this is a celebration of when Top Cow turns the corner with Cyberforce. But then it's also a desecration to what happens when we're late. Let's go. We go back and forth with how do we present issues that are somewhat deep within the run. Do I always bring the Cyberforce stack out when we talk about Cyberforce and show you guys what happened in previous issues and show you guys what some of the setups and payoffs are? Yes and no. Sometimes we just need to inch along, and that's where we are today. We're not going to discuss issue 23, but I might as well just show it off now because we have two back-to-back issues. We have 21 here. We see it. To be continued. 21 is such a great complete issue. I enjoy issue 21 so much. And then we have 22 here. And we see here, to be continued. The plot points we think that we're going to get in Cyberforce 23. And Cyberforce 23 brings on board Kevin Lau. He later goes to Wildstorm and does some really... I take that back. He doesn't go to Wildstorm. He goes to Harris Comics. And he revamps Vampirella in a book called Vampy that is, it's pushed. Like, it's all over Wizard. It gets multiple editions. He really was another, like, American comic book artist anime. He was, like, anime American comic book artist. His arrival is a big effing deal. We'll do a separate episode detailing what happens here, because this is a clear inventory issue. It has 0 plot points. It doesn't carry over anything that we see that's set up in not only the 2, but the 4 previous issues of Cyberforce. This is mostly a Velocity solo story, but it's to be continued. This is David Finch's fault. David Finch, for Cyberforce 22, needs this many inkers. I mean, AKAPADers. 1, 2, 3. Look, we even got Claus Jansen, Marc Pellington, Billy Tan, Adam McDaniel, Joe Weems, Jason Gordner. And there could be others, because we're kind of within the studio system. A chunk of this issue is recapping not just where we are story-wise, but almost like the entire series. The momentum that we have in Cyberforce 21, it's a little bit frustrating. And I think as a publisher, as an editor, the people who worked on Cyberforce 21, should have been up in arms. Should have been flipping tables over in Wildstorm Productions headquarters. But we get something special here. And I want to illustrate what happens with some of the plots here real quick. And hopefully we'll do that with one sheet of paper. Let's just say the overall plot. And we'll just say 18, but we'll be a little bit generous. Let's just say we have a plot that starts at 18 and it lands at 25. And we're going to get stories. Like, these are kind of like an A plot, B plot, C plot, and D plot. Now, these are all the other elements. So, we move these forward. So, issue 19 gets part of A. Issue 19 gets part of B. Issue 19 gets a part of C. Issue 19. So, you guys see where we're going. In issue 20, like, we march it along. Issue 21 incorporates all these other plot elements perfectly, leading towards 25. But you need to do that every single issue. Now, to maybe help extrapolate this, let me show you guys why I own Essential X-Men Volume 7. Correction, guys, it's Volume 6. There's a reason why I only own two editions of Essential X-Men. I was just discussing this on stream. Essential X-Men number 6 is, I've recommended, this is affordable. If you want to see what it runs of unrealized plots, like what it just means as a comic book reader, this is your volume. There's more unresolved plots, like plot in here, period, than you might say in any other time in comics. There's so much so, you kind of have to forgive it if you're going to enjoy the book. Now, X-Men is full of characters that we know, that we're familiar with. Characters that kind of spend time in the mud, building themselves, like, into the audience. So there's, like, forgiveness given, like, laid into the X-Men. Forgiveness is baked into the dough, for lack of a better term. Cyberforce doesn't have that luxury. See, if Cyberforce had characters that had as much time with readers as the X-Men did, we would look at these issues very differently. In a different view, you can argue that what they're doing here with Cyberforce is no different than what a lot of people consider to be one of the greatest comic book arcs of all time. X-Men's forgiven because the characters had time with the reader. So much time that you're familiar with who they are before you get into a wild mess like this. Cyberforce, we're not connected to the characters yet. So there's no pass. Like, Cyberforce needs to be perfect every single moment, every single panel. And when it's not perfect, that often, you lose readers. Readers just move on. And in the opening splash, we get Heatwave just getting nuked. And we get this narration coming from Heatwave where that's me there. The one getting his head handed to him. We're the good guys. And then we get this moment where Velocity, she's got the batons. She really doesn't get them again. David Wall is editor. That's his fault. We build into Velocity being able to hold her ground when the Cyberforce team is just wrecking shops. They've spent the entire series. This is what's wild. The entire series builds into this moment for Velocity. So much so that they're pushing her more of a solo character than even Ripclaw. And at this time, Ripclaw's in his solo series. But you even see the filler issue is Velocity. It's not any of the other characters. And what's happening here is Cyberforce shows up, their arch nemesis, their headquarters is decimated. They go there to see if it's true. Is cyber data erased? Are they gone? They get hit up by shock troopers, but these are just leftover shock troopers. These guys are yesterday's news. They actually call them they're like a third wave shock trooper. These guys are just left over from the destruction of cyber data. So the arch nemesis that we're introduced to in Cyberforce Zero and the 4-issue miniseries is over. A plot. B plot. We get the Kraken over here, and the Kraken is a mysterious creature, a woman that can take a semi-truck. I mean, and look how nice of a panel that is. But a semi-truck can run over the Kraken, and the Kraken survives. It's a girl. We know potentially there's a human inside. Cyberforce finds out that there could be a human inside. They don't believe it because the character is so horrific. It's also a psychically powered character. This is like the enemy. They have been building this character up. This character just kicked Ripclaw's ass. We also have we have some good, Brian Hooligan here, who's writing the script. He kind of nails working with pages. And what I mean by that is we all know what the process is for Top Cow. If they're working with full scripts, even partial scripts, or just plots. Sometimes we want to say they let the artist breathe. And if the artist wants to come up with a splash page like this, it's up to the scripter to, you have to make it cohesive. You have to make something of this. But even the truck driver, they tell his biography, and he doesn't have a great life. And they're kind of he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. His family got evicted. They're living in a trailer park, but today's his last day. Really good captions there. And here we go. C plot. We get this desk. This desk comes from the enemy of Cyberforce. They're basically said, give it to you, Doc. Said you'll know what to do with it. Moving that along. D plot, we have Ballistic here. She wants nothing to do with the team. The running dialogue on Top Cow Tuesdays is, when will Ballistic join the effing team? Because she's featured in team shots. She goes back and forth with Sideblade here, so much so that they got to break the two of them up. But we learn that Ballistic is out. She wants nothing to do with any of this, regardless that her sister is on the team. She's in danger. Ballistic is just look, you guys are loco. I'm freaking out. Moving along, we're back to the B plot. The team tracks down Ripclaw. Ripclaw's meditating on this ledger. And fantastic forest shots here, guys. I mean, I don't know why, I just love the coloring for this panel. But we learn that, yeah, like Ripclaw's a little bit torn up from getting his butt handed to him. He tries to prep him. He's like, this creature, this monster is out there. And they're like, hey, like you, I don't know why we have protocols. Like you chased this girl. You went after this girl when we detected her without any assistance. And the team learns that the Kraken girl is real. They didn't know up until this point. And here we go. A, B, C, D, villain plot. The villain is all in. He wants to just remake the world. Now we get villain dialogue, we get all of these things, but we get the leftover shock agent. This is one of the top shock guys, the top guys that tried to kick Cyberforce's ass. They get him, and we'll spoil it. In the next issue, he's made into a new villain. Right here. I mean, really nice stuff, though, from Finch. So we move that along. And then we get into a plot point that goes back 10 months where Timmy and Chip, but Chip here, there's something off with him. And the doctor and Timmy, and these are two synthetic creatures. They tell him, it's like, look, we need to like hook you up and have a, like there's something wrong with you. And the kid's like, I don't want to do it. I don't, like I might die. And they're like, well, that's a good point. So they just walk out of the room. And he goes, here you go. All right, Timmy, you be good now. Sure, Chip, I'll be good. I promise. So in the next issue, this is the one plot point that's like the real revelation. We'll get to that. And then we get Velocity here. I mean, Heatwave's a little bit of a dick, but he does have a point. He goes, Velocity, you we're on standby alert. Why are you out of uniform? I mean, like, I mean, they literally have a psychic creature out there in the wild that they're waiting to do something so that they're notified that just kicked Ripclaw's ass. And she's just like, but this is where something, like the artist, David Finch here, David Finch feels like drawing this and the clock's ticking. So there you go. And then we get this real moment. This isn't a plot point, but this is a character moment where pretty much like this running dialogue from Heatwave, and this stems back to other issues. We learn that he's just, like he kind of remembers his previous life. He's had a wife, he's had kids. The audience has seen all of this in flashback. He and his partial memory, he doesn't remember. And he's trying to hold his team together, and he's just frustrated, and he just sees himself as this, like burgoing failure. We're the good guys. It's not supposed to be like this. To be continued. And this is a real moment. This is a tragic moment. And a lot of this, like, it goes into Devil's Reign, what they do with Marvel Comics, where Heatwave really does become a tragic character. And there's 21. What I consider to be an absolute complete issue that moves all the plot points forward. And this is the type of momentum a book needs. Like, if you randomly ended up with this on the shelf, you're almost just like, wow, like I have to read the next freaking issue. Like, so, like maybe you buy it on time. You buy when you see it at the comic shop. They're running the Top Cow guarantees, and none of the other Image guys were doing this. Top Cow made a concise effort to get into good faith with not only comic shops, but comic book readers. But then we get, we really get derailed with this issue. It's cool if the Doctor wants to summarize some of the book for us, But we see just with the detail, like these are like partially drawn pages, and these are very quick pages. The doctor's always, his internal monologue is always, I try to create something good. They bastardize my creation. And I'm doing my best to like hold it together because, like the world's a wild place now. And all of these people are like tortured because of me. And the world's falling apart because of me. We get this moment. We get a payoff where Ballistic and Stryker have a moment. She considers him one of the good guys, but as continuing from last issue, she's out. Again, like partially drawn pages here. These are very quick pages. We get the introduction of a new villain, and then we get Chip over here, and Chip's like, look, if you don't have any luck with that disc, I can decipher that disc for you. The doctor looks at the disc and basically summarizes all the powers of the Kraken, but there's parts of the disc he can't decipher. So the kids aren't it. And then we get the revelation that, well, guess what? Corbin, one of our bad guys here, he compromised Chip, and that goes all the way back, I want to say, to Cyber Force issue, I think 8 or 9. We'll review all of that when we're going to do a whole stack review when we're done with issue 23, because we're going to do issues 24 and 25 together. So we're like two more videos away from getting into 25. Yeah, and then we get this other plot point here, but this is fine. Not featured in the previous issue, but we have an old guy that goes back to the oldie times, and he's like the one that discovers like the alien tech that's throughout the Top Cow Cyberverse. He's preparing his move, but it's cool because like now we've had like a 1 or 2 issue gap before we saw this guy, but again, like E-Plot put him in, inch him forward. And then we get so Cyberforce gets detected that the Kraken is out there, so they scramble, and the Kraken is talking to Velocity. Again, like paying attention to Velocity. They're pumping the stock of this character. And Velocity hears the Kraken because she's somewhat of a psychic character. She's like, help me. And then, Velocity's like, we have to stop everything we're doing. And we even want to say, like, see, like these, like, see how it's like not a smooth line? It makes you think that we're dealing with very small pages, even here. You can tell small pages when they draw small characters. Well, this guy shows up because he's like, we're like the local militia, and we have all this like, this cool futuristic armory. And you guys like, well, I'm not going away because they got me out of bed, and we're going to just like blow up this Kraken girl. And then we have a page here of literally nothing. Really do. We have Killjoy just floating in the tank. We waste 2 pages here. We have a splash page of the Kraken getting nuked, and then the Kraken, believe it or not, has teleportation ability to where the Kraken can kind of teleport anywhere at any time on planet Earth. Now, this is detailed when the Doctor goes through the CD here. And guys, we have to say, like, look how nice the CD is colored, though. Okay, so again, we learn about her powers. It says she can teleport. She teleports here, and then the team's like, well, that's not the last of her. So we have this huge buildup for the Kraken. The Kraken just vanishes. The Kraken also, at this point, seems absolutely invincible. And, like, we get nothing with the new guy. And we're just kind of done in this ho-hum. And we continue into this, which is a filler issue. And it really shouldn't be a to be continued. Like, they really needed they had to wrap this up because we're kind of... So we all know, like how long this issue was sitting around at Top Cow. Maybe he came in at the right time and they're like, we have to give our guys a break, because like you want to say, just from the credits here and the page quality, that this book was done very quick. Like it was done right at the wire. So your guys have to recover. This is a studio system, and they recover, from a filler issue. Part of the problem though is they have so many A, B, C, D, and E plots going. They like you're kind of stuck. Like you just get stuck when someone is so effing late. They, like it's almost like it just throws a wrench in all of it. And there's like no easy solution, and the book suffers because of it. Because here's the thing: when it comes to issue 24, we get like the killer instinct. Like we go back to Killer Instinct and the first couple issues of Cyber Force, and we continue that to go into 25. So everything that you saw here, I mean, we probably have 7 separate plot points, like 6 to 7 different plot points to wrap up in 2 issues. It's tough, kids.